Well, Sam, your first time out here to visit the class of 1440, and as we're pulling out of the prison, I always ask everybody, tell me what you thought of class, maybe what you expected, how it was different, how it touched your heart, all that stuff.
I guess I didn't expect them to be so engaged as they were. It seemed like they're all really looking to make a change.
Yeah.
I don't know. That caught me a little bit more, but I figured they'd be into it, but they would be souls.
They had a lot of questions for you, didn't they?
Yeah.
You know, and they, what I've always found is they do a good job of asking questions to help you, right? Because that's a new environment for you.
Yeah, especially because if you're not used to speaking like that, it's hard to carry on an hour, like an hour. But yeah, the questions absolutely help. It just makes it, that much easier to know what to talk about next, or where it leads everything.
Well, the authenticity and the sharing real stories, as you shared, growing up Jehovah's Witness, and then giving your life to Christ, back in March, and your journey in Band of Brothers, and the realness you shared in your marriage, and the hard times like we all have in those, but then the work that you guys have put in, and learning to pray together, that was all really strong. Can you articulate how this touches you and what you're feeling coming out of there?
It's hard to put in words, but it's just like to say, it feels a lot better to give than to receive.
Yeah.
And I mean, you go in there, if you're real, those they appreciate it. A lot of guys that shake my hand and say, "Thank you for being so open."
Yeah.
And that meant a lot because they're paying attention, they're listening. It does. It's another. I don't know, just another way to fill you up.
Yeah. Well, you go out there expecting to serve them, which we do, right? But what I'm always personally filled up with, and I see it in everybody, I can sense it in you too, is how you're filled up, right? That serving other people also serves us, and when you read it, scripture and everything else, we're designed to serve one another. And I think the proof is in the feeling that we have, that you go do that for a morning. You have to give up a morning, right? You have to give up a morning of work and income, and there's sacrifice that goes with this. And you could take that time and spend it at home, but instead you chose to go out there this morning with me and to serve these men. But the reward for that is God telling you, you are exactly where I needed you today and where I wanted you to be. Right? What did you talked about how they engage, but what did you feel in that room? What did you see in these guys and their eyes and everything else? Different than maybe what you even expected.
Very surprised. Maybe it's because I don't know, but they know a lot about the word. They know a lot about the word.
Yeah.
The guy that opened the prayer, he did. That was an amazing prayer.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why I wasn't. I don't know why I wasn't expecting that, but it really. It just. You can tell they're ready for a change.
Yeah.
That's just
that opening structure. Prayer, and then 3 things of gratitude, and then the I am statement. That's something that Mike is very disciplined with, making sure. That's how every morning starts. And
I like that.
Yeah, I think that's a great.
I like that because no matter what you got going on in life, you got to look for the positives.
Yeah.
And I think when you can appreciate the small things, God will bless you with more bigger things. So starting off that way, like I said, it makes you look for the positives in your life.
Yeah.
I feel no matter what you got going on in life, there will always be somebody will still kill to be in your position.
Absolutely. Well, you've got 4 beautiful kids. How great would it be to start, if it's every day or even start a week, with 3 things of gratitude and an I am statement for children,
Yeah.
right? And as you could teach them, what does that look like? What does that mean? That's why I say maybe it's just once a week. It's how, Sunday nights finish or Monday mornings start or whatever. That you ask them to put some thought into that, and those that can write, that they write it out and that they share it, and that you and your wife do the same thing. There's a lot of lessons that I've seen happen within that classroom that I think are super healthy outside those prison walls.
Yeah.
That's certainly one of them. When you talked about praying with Maria, that connected. That absolutely connected with their hearts, and that is a challenge because, the emotional part of today is when I brought up, that you have to be worthy of a good woman, and that you have to respect women. You talked about, as Jesus respected in the church, but learning how to pray with your wife, learning how to age. I was able to talk about that with your wife. Those are the things, those are the challenges that those guys are going to face. But the reality is, man, those are challenges that every man faces.
Yeah. Every day.
Yep. You saw it at Band of Brothers, right? So recap that for me. So you shared that at Band of Brothers, when you guys just did your board burning, that you found pretty common things amongst men that all those things were about. Can you share that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the men is just everybody has a fear of not being enough for your wife, not being enough of a dad, not being able to support your family enough, and I mean, it was eye opening because you feel like you're unique, but the truth is that it feels like every man is going through the same thing. It's a fear of not being enough, or the fear for their family. I mean, it was just eye opening.
Yeah. And we talked about that in the classroom too. Is I don't think a lot of those guys want to go out and just see how many children they can father and not be in their life. They'd like to be fathers. They may or may not have a good example of that in their life. But again, the choices that they'll make by the women that they choose and why they choose them. But I could see in about every guy in there, if he has children, he wants to be part of their life.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever run across too many men that have said, yeah, I want to father 50 kids and I don't want to know any of them. At heart, men want to be involved in lives. It's everything else. It's I'm not good enough, chose bad with the woman that he slept with, whatever it might be. But it was powerful. Your story of business, starting up the lawn company and all that takes. You could tell they were very. They wanted to know as much about that as they could. They were inquiring a lot, weren't they?
Yeah.
One guy asked you for a job right away. So. But I really appreciate you going out. I appreciate you doing a quick recap video, and look forward to having you out there again, because I know they want you back out there.
I appreciate you bringing me.
Yeah.
It was great. Like I said, it's real fulfilling, and I definitely want to come back.
Yeah, you will be.